Hello YouTube, TGM here, coming at you with another part 0 video alongside our One More Marathon. These are meant to serve as general purpose broad stroke guides, just an introduction to these various leaders and how you might want to set up your game / play them and utilize their strengths. Mansa Musa, his strength, besides rugged good looks, money. Very good unique district on this one. A weird double-edged sword on some of the other abilities, so let's get into it. Sahil merchants. International trade routes gain gold for every flat desert tile in the origin city. You get an extra trade route capacity every time you enter Golden Age. So again, weird because flat desert generally doesn't do much. But Mansa Musa is one where you want a lot of desert. We'll get to Songs of the Jailer in a second. You tend to want to cook the books a bit with Mansa, so let's start there. You want a hot map, so lots of desert. You also weirdly want wet, because ideally you're starting with like a plains hill with a woods, something like this, like a 1-3 tile, and you want probably one big flat desert city where all your trade routes are. You can do that. I don't tend to bother that much with it. Like it's a lot of extra gold. You're gonna have a ton of gold anyways. Just put the trade routes where they make sense. You don't have to stress too much about the flat desert portion of this. Most of your cities ideally are like sort of on the edge of the desert, like you're not completely immersed in the desert. You've got some workable tiles elsewhere, but then also some desert to take advantage of songs and Sahil merchants. The trade route capacity every time you enter a Golden Age is just good. That is insanely good. You should hopefully be decent at getting golden ages at this point in Civ's life. And this is just, 4 or 5 extra trade routes by the end of the game. Like that's really strong and really good. Not to mention the trade routes get that much better with Mansa Musa. So a strong ability and leads us into the rest of the kit. So Songs of the Jailer city centers get faith and food for every adjacent desert and desert hill tile. Does not include desert mountains, notably. Mines are -1 production, but +4 gold. It's about a wash in terms of overall usefulness. Generally speaking, about 1 production is about 4 gold in this game. So it removes the thing that you really want in production and gives you gold instead. Again, you're going to have a very gold wealthy empire. Again, like it's good, but it's weird. It slows down some of the game. Settling in desert is never all that appealing unless you're going Petra anyways. So this is kind of a wash. The city centers getting you faith and food is excellent. It'll allow you to grow and then work all those gold mines. And then also starting with faith per turn is insanely good because you will, generally speaking, get the first Pantheon. Oftentimes you want to slam like a free settler. That should be available to you most of the time, but usually you want to build religion with Mansa Musa as well, which means you're probably picking desert folklore. Just to pair Sugubas with holy sites. It's the preferred way to play them. You don't have to do it that way, but I do think it's probably the most straightforward and one that makes just a ton of sense to me. As the rest of the kit unfolds here, that'll hopefully make sense to you as well. May purchase commercial hub buildings with faith, -30% production towards constructing buildings or training units. Okay, buying commercial hub buildings with faith is great. And then we'll get to the compound synergy once we talk about the Suguba. -30% production is not good. Also, you are already at a production deficit because of your weird mines, right? Minus production and plus gold. So this isn't everything, but this changes your early game a ton. Usually I like to start double scout. That's not necessarily preferred here because, again, you don't really want to be building units and you're probably going to have like a weird setup to start the game anyways. Note that this does not count districts, projects, or wonders. So ideally, you're buying buildings and buying units, and you're using your production to run merchant projects. That's completely fine. Build wonders is fine. Build districts is fine. You're going to build some units and some buildings. You're just going to have to do it. You just can't avoid it, right? There are going to be times when you don't have anything worth buying and you need to run something, and it doesn't make sense to run a project all the time. You still need buildings, so you'll still do it sometimes. But the preferred production with him is districts, wonders, and projects. And I really think running early merchant projects is completely fine. Generally, you'll get like an extra trade route capacity or something like that, and that just pairs super well with our kit. Then we get the Monte Carlo Cavalry, 5 extra combat strength compared to a typical knight. This is a knight replacement. It protects your traders as well, so you can kind of send greedy trade routes into a war zone and protect them pretty well. It protects trade routes within 4 tiles. Combat victory provide gold equal to 100% of the unit's base strength on standard speed. So this will be an insignificant amount of gold. It is thematic. It is lovely from that point of view, but it is not particularly good. You're going to get like 50 gold when you're earning 150 per turn. It's not nothing. I mean, there's certainly, knights that get you extra gold is kind of cool, and it is like 5 extra combat strength, but it's not necessarily my favorite unit in the world, but it is thematic and it does work well. And honestly, protecting your trade routes during wartime is extremely valuable, especially his. So it's a fine unit, and you can certainly get some work done with them if you choose, but you don't necessarily have to play into it either. The Suguba. This is perhaps the best unique district in the entire game. Yes, I said it. Perhaps the best unique district in the entire game. It is a replacement commercial hub, which is already really good. Every single city you build in Civ 6 either wants a commercial hub or a harbor, and sometimes both, although not super often. So the fact that it's unique district means it's half cost, which is already outstanding, because you'll start to get those merchants right away. You should be able to dominate your control of those in almost any game. So not only is it half cost, but then units, buildings, and districts are 20% cheaper to purchase with gold and faith. What? That's so good. That pairs so well with monumentality, with Moksha's faith buying of districts, with Reyna's gold buying of districts. It pairs insanely well if you luck into Valletta, the city center buildings with faith, buying city center buildings with faith. Insanely good there. Just outstanding. Just really, really, really good. And allows you to like buy a spaceport if you want to on the cheap. It's gold efficiency. Like Mansa Musa has like a weird setup phase, but then once you start raking in the gold, it is glorious. In addition to the +2 for being on a river, which is a typical commercial hub bonus, as well as the partial adjacency like this, you also get 2 gold for each adjacent holy site. So we've seen this before with various districts. You generally speaking want to pair holy sites, and ideally you have desert folklore so that these are actually very good holy sites. And then you want to put your Sugubas like this in a diamond. That is the preferred setup. That's just a ridiculous adjacency without a whole lot of effort. Like this should be between your first 2 cities almost all the time. And ideally you're building most of your cities with this type of setup with something like desert folklore in between. Remember with desert folklore, this is +7, and this one is +5. You could do it better on the map. I'm just illustrating. But this is generally the type of setup you want to go, which is why you want to go holy sites and commercial hubs pretty much first, no matter what you're doing. In terms of religion, you can absolutely go Jesuit education with Mansa, but there's so many things to already spend your like faith and gold and stuff on. I tend to just like work ethic. Yes, there's a -30% penalty for certain things, but work ethic, especially when you're sort of deserty, you're gonna have high population but not necessarily a ton of production. I really, really like desert folklore plus work ethic, and that's an incredibly reliable way to build your cities with him. And then you kind of go, you lock this in, you get your holy site, and you're off and running. Incredibly unique civ, super fun. I know this is a bit longer than the typical explanation, but frankly it warrants it. I love Mansa Musa. I played him religiously when he first came out. Thanks for watching, everybody. Twitch.tv/thegamemechanic if you want to catch our playthroughs live. Would love to see you live in person on the internet. We'll see you then.